Esther, thank you very much. Let's take a deeper dive now into that issue of police misconduct as reported by the Washington Post. It is costly, and that might be the understatement. The Post finding that towns and cities paid out more than $1.5 billion in settlements. Most cities and counties don't even publicize or track the payment information. Cheryl Dorsey is a retired police sergeant with the LAPD, frequent guest on BNC. Cheryl, as always, thanks for being with us. You're the perfect guest for this because the Post reports it's a double-edged sword. Bad cops keep getting hired. Good cops get besmirched by lawyers quick to settle a suit. Which is it?
Well, listen, I think it's a little bit of both. And so we can't pretend that, there are bad police officers, that there aren't bad police officers out there who live to offend again and again. We saw it in the example of Derek Chauvin, who had racked up 27 personnel complaints, and the city was all too willing to make a record history-breaking settlement in that case. And so it's not coming from police unions. It's not coming from police department coffers. The money is coming from taxpayer dollars. And so until we have a real substantive conversation about qualified immunity, which means holding errant police officers personally, financially accountable for their bad deeds, for committing misconduct, we're going to continue to have this issue.
Cheryl, we all know about the high-profile cases. The Washington Post pointing out that a lot of these are ticky-tack cases where the lawyers settle because it's cheaper to settle than to take the case to court. We talk an awful lot about bad cops, but city managers make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Is this not an issue that city council should be taking a look at and saying, why are we paying out these funds? Because these numbers are eye-popping.
Well, listen, I don't think they settle because they don't want to, it's cheaper than going to trial. I believe that these police departments understand they have officers who are very problematic, who are doing real damage to the pocketbook of taxpayers, if you will. And so they settle without going to trial because a jury would undoubtedly give a family who's lost a loved one probably triple what they are willing to settle that family to just go away. And so that's why it's so important to teach a lesson by holding the errant officer individually also accountable, by having him partake or her partake of that civil settlement and not just give them a slap on the hand as in the case of Kim Potter, or no penalty administratively or criminally at all, and then have the taxpayers shoulder the total financial burden of paying a family for having cops kill your loved one.
Cheryl, I'm curious. You were out there on the streets. You walked the beat. You have been part of the administration. Is this an understatement when we talk about how bad the problem is? And if so, how bad is the problem?
Well, the problem is bad, but this isn't anything new. It's been this way since the beginning of time. The system does what it's designed to do, and police chiefs shelter and coddle errant police officers, not so much because they have an affinity for that officer, but because they're protecting the organism, because they're protecting the entity, that police department. And because ultimately they know, because they have strong police unions who pay ridiculous amounts of monies into the campaigns of politicians, that no one is going to push back when an officer goes astray, when an officer uses deadly force as a first resort rather than a last resort. It's easy. Just throw buckets of money at the family and we'll have this conversation next time, because there will be a next time.
And as you indicated, the big secret is it's not being paid out by insurance companies. It is being paid out by taxpayers. Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, as always, thank you very much for being with us. I have a feeling this is another one of those topics that ain't going anywhere.